Duke's really good.
I don't think Duke's really good. I think Virginia Tech pretty bad.
Think so?
I believe so.
I don't know, man. This Miller's pretty good. This show is not sponsored in part by Miller Lite. 3 viewers, but I don't know who they are. 7 viewers. 8. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. 9 viewers, Ross. 10. Oh my gosh. We are live. We are live officially. Live here from our undisclosed location. Welcome to the first episode of The Chris Boone Show, starring Chris Boone, as we await for him to get on the air. But, oh gosh, this Maryland game is really bad. I'm really embarrassed to I'm embarrassed to wear this shirt right now. No, I'm not watching anymore. I turned on the VOD Tech game to feel better. I need a new shirt. Somebody give me a new shirt. Ross, for love of God, find me a new shirt. It's embarrassing that I'm stuck with this. I got something better. Hold on. Got something way better. I'll take this. Thanks. Thank you, Ross. All right. Is this less embarrassing? A Chargers jersey? I mean, it's Antonio Gates. To me, it's San Diego Chargers, not the LA Chargers. I don't like the LA Chargers. I'm a San Diego Chargers guy. Just saying. But is this less embarrassing? I hope so. I just want to know what Boone thinks.
What's going on, buddy?
Welcome to the Chris Boone Show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I ain't have no time at work this week, so I wasn't able to type up the grades and my rankings and everything like that. So, when I talked to you, this was a pretty good idea.
Yeah, I like it myself. I think this could be a weekly thing. It'll help spare you some time, and it'll give me something to look forward to on Friday nights.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds good. I'd like to do that. Like I said, 'cause I know you have your show, but you get a lot of call-ins and a lot of talk, so you don't always have time to go over everything.
And I feel like this would be a nice little thing for our viewers to get into, as we'll get a more in-depth insight into what you think is going on in the Washington County Flag Football League.
Right. And after tonight, maybe starting next week, maybe once I go through each one of the teams' rankings and power grades, if one of their captains or something want to message a question, and so each of them can ask a question, and me and you can give our opinion on what we think about their team.
Yeah. And
something like that.
Happens. I think so too. I think we can do this. I like this. I'm looking forward to this. But let's kick it off with your power rankings, Chris. Who do you got at number 9?
Number 9 is definitely the Red Knights. I mean, they're pretty much, I see them locked in there all season, unless Andy can get some numbers or something. But and I don't even want to give them guys a grade on offense or defense, because I'm just glad they got a team.
Mm-hmm.
They can't show up with 12, 13 guys. Everybody's out of position and stuff like that. I mean, that's rough, man. That's rough. So I suggest anybody in Washington County that watches this or plays in the league, if you got a friend or somebody that might not be good enough to make your team, man, tell them to come out and try out for the Red Knights. Even if they just want to get into flag football and they're just starting. Shit, I mean, Andy's, like y'all said, he's produced 70% of the whole damn league, at one point been on his team. So,
yeah.
I mean, if somebody just wants to try and actually come out and just get some experience, Andy's probably the guy to be around. I mean, he's got some knowledge, and he could probably help a lot of guys out, and it would help him out by for him to keep a team.
I think so too, and that is one thing I will say. Andy Hoffman is a great guy to work with if you are new to flag football or if you're just trying to get a shot, because he will
Yeah.
make sure you get your shot on the field. He gave me a shot at Virginia Beach in 2015. I played B bracket ball at Virginia Beach that year.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, Andy, he's a hell of a dude. And I know he wants to win, but his main goal right now is to have fun, enjoy it with the family. He has his family out there, and he just wants to be around the guys and have a good time. So if anybody knows a friend that wants to actually get into flag football, it's maybe never played 9-man, maybe they played 7 or 8 or something like that. Shit, just come out and play for the Red Knights, because at this point, after week 1, I was scared they wouldn't even have a team to finish the year.
Mm.
Or was it week 2 that they came out and had 11? I can't remember if it was week 1 or week 2.
I think it was probably the Warriors game. They came out looking really good in week 1. They put up a fight against the Red Knights, the Spartans, or Ruckus rather.
Yeah, that's right.
But in the Spartans game, you really saw where the problems were on that team. They were just exposed really early in that game. And
Well, they took a lead, didn't they? Didn't they take a lead?
The Knights in the Spartans? I think they did early on, and then it was 22-0 the rest of the way.
Oh, okay. Maybe that was Ruckus that they came out and scored against. TJ scored early, and then
they did. They got a lead against Ruckus.
Okay.
They actually looked good in that game, and I was talking the potential of that combination. You had there at one point of TJ with Scunyon across from him.
Yep.
With J.A. King. Like, you would have thought that's a good receiving core to run with Andy, with all his experience and knowledge. But right now, they don't got TJ anymore. And
I didn't see Scunyon after that week either.
He could be on or off. We don't know. Like, we never know what goes on. Some guys do have other things happen. He'll probably come back when it matters in other games. You'll probably see him this weekend. I think you're going to see a big presence of Red Knight guys this weekend, because it is Broadex after all. This is a big game.
Right. Typically, I mean, it's brother versus brother. So you would think Andy would definitely pull out all stops to get all his players he can. But I'm just glad he's got a team, and I hope he can finish out the year with the team. That's all.
I hope so as well. Number 8, Boone, who you got?
Number 8 is Railroaders. They really disappointed a lot of people after having a couple weeks bye. I always heard those guys practice, but if they went, damn near 3 weeks without football and they came out and looked like that, and they've been practicing, if that's the case, if they've been practicing and come out and look like that, then they need to get a whole new game plan, because you can run the ball. I think Tyler Spencer said it. He's right. On 1st and 5, you can run the ball and you can power run. So what happens after you get that first down? It starts out 1st and 18. You do 2 run plays, get 3 yards each. Now you're at 3rd and 12, and you're still in run formation. So, I mean, them guys, they can't pick up no first downs. They need some skill guys. I understand that they play buddy ball and shit like that, but offensively, they have to get some skill guys. The quarterback is not that bad. He can throw. He's got a rocket. He's a big dude. He can see over the big lineman. So that's not an issue. You go the front 4 with the 3 linemen and the quarterback. I mean, them guys they're a solid group, like real solid. But then you go the other 5 players, whether it's a running back, tight end, and the skill guys, receivers, they don't have it. I mean, offensively, they're an F. I mean, they don't have it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say a D- because of those front 4 guys. The 3 linemen and the quarterback, they're solid, but the other 5 on the unit are just they can't keep up in this league. Defensively, they can't keep up either. Again, no skill guys. No skill guys. I mean, and to have those big guys, they don't even have a pass rush. So they need to get out of buddy ball and actually start adding some players.
That has something they've been accused of, actually. I've heard that openly discussed on the internet that Brunswick does play buddy ball, and that could be one of the things that does set them back the most.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they you got to add players, man. Throughout this league, you got to meet guys throughout other leagues and other areas. If you just want to keep your local area team, I mean, you might as well go play in the KFFL. I mean, if the Railroaders, if this is the team that they're going to bring out every week, they might as well go up there and play in the KFFL against the Spartans or the Gators and what other teams up there?
Killer Bees and the Misfits.
Well, not
They can
counting
play
the
them 3 times a year.
Well, right. I don't want to count the Misfits because they're a solid group, but the other three teams in that league, that's where the Railroaders belong, unless they want to go outside of their hometown or street, whatever it is they got up there. They did have one brother on the team this weekend, so that was pretty exciting to see on the sideline. And he didn't even play offense. You got one skilled guy on the whole team, and he didn't even play offense. So, yeah, they got to get some guys, man.
I think that core of Brunswick is the fact that they have a core that's from the same town, that they all have together. That's the one thing that's made them successful, at least on the tackle level so far. I think they're trying to show the flag, and I think that's a little harder to do, though.
Right.
But they do,
yeah.
If you look beneath of all the flaws, they do have a young core that's roughly the same age as each other, that if they stick together and they were able to build upon what they have in Brunswick,
right.
They could really stand out and put something together. But right now, you got to think about it. They're ran by Brian for the most part in Beachley. It's almost not going to be the same thing, but that's just how I feel. I feel like they have a lot of young, long-term potential as a team. But right now, they're not exactly where you think they should be.
Right. Well, all right. So let's just say if you don't have the skill guys, you better have chemistry. And you watch their games, they don't have that either. I mean, how many passes do they complete over 5 yards? I mean, the QB throws some good balls, but it's either timing or the guy's not there or it's right off their hands. So their timing's not even right. So their chemistry's actually not even good if that's what they're saying they're good at. But you're right. Tackle-wise, they're a hell of a team, right? So that it's better because they have a power run, and you can power run in a pro tackle game and not so much in a flag football game.
Yeah. And I think in time they'll improve in flag, but I do think in the KFFL they'd be a solid team.
Right. I mean, they would play, like you said, the Killer Bee. I mean, they might even be able to beat some of them teams.
But a lot of what's made them successful, what made them successful, though, is the fact that they played against us all these years.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
They had a lot of tough road to build. I mean, They went in a county who I'm not going to say is the greatest league out there, but there is a lot of teams that are competitive. Right. Yeah, that's a tough league to grow in. It really is, especially when you come from the very bottom of an area that hasn't had flag football in almost 20 years.
Right. But, I mean, they could go up there to KFFL and be bigger and stronger than the Bees and all those other teams. So now those run plays then they can turn it into play action and stuff like that right now, so they could actually do some damage up there. But right now, until they want to add some skill guys, I mean, they're a B team, B bracket team, bottom team every time.
All right. Who do you got at number 7?
Number 7, I have the Spartans. And, after the first couple weeks, man, I thought they was going to do some damage, man. And now they're kind of they're falling back a little bit. They don't even have the same energy that they had at the beginning of the year. I think a couple of those close games where they lost at the end and lining up in the wrong formation, a quarterback not having a flag, a player not running out of bounds. It's took some energy from them. So they need to get that back, win or lose. They need to get that back. Offensively, I had them at a B and C at the beginning of the year, man. They're down to a D. I mean, they couldn't. I know ADR's defense. I mean, it's like their defense is lights out, no doubt about it. But they just didn't look good at all offensively. Even they didn't look good at all. Keenan's not looking good right now. I think some of the receivers are complaining a little bit, and you can't do that. So them guys got to be on one page. Hey, you can't always get the ball, man. You can't always get the ball. Quarterback's always not going to find you. You got to run your routes hard, whether you get the ball or not. And, every time back to the huddle when they was playing us on Sunday, you'd hear the receiver, he's not throwing it to me. I'm here. I'm that. But they think they're open, but they don't see the pressure that the quarterback's under. So Spartans need to get another lineman or two, or get a blocking tight end. They tried to use a guy that kept leaking out, and Keenan was under a lot of pressure, man. They didn't look good offensively at all.
And that's going to be something that as the season goes on, you got to figure the D lines in this league are pretty deep. They're going to face that problem all season. Right. They got to correct this now if they're going to get anywhere.
Yeah. Or they need to shorten their game up. Why all receivers got to run deep? I've never understood that. I mean, you can throw a 5-yard drag route and the guy could run it for 30.
Well, that was a criticism of Keenan Pooler when he played for the West Virginia Ducks, was that he really liked throwing the deep ball. That was something he really specialized in. And when it was successful, having played for the Ducks in that spring of 17 season, when it was successful, it was great.
Right.
Like he could nail it. He had Thad Jones, he had Jazz Harrison that season. The team was electric when he was able to do it. However, the struggle would come against superior defensive lines and defenses who'd be able to shut that down.
Right.
And was back in a time period where D lines weren't as deep as they were right now.
All right, right. Well, my thing is Keenan and Thad, I guess they're the captains on offense. They need to get together, and they need to know down management. And what I mean by that, if you start out 1st and 15, your first down pass can't be a fade down the sideline. You have to get 5 to 6 yards, whether it's a curl, a comeback, a tight end to the flats. You got to stay on schedule. And right now the Spartans, I mean, you can go back to overtime when they started 1st and 20, they had a chance to beat Ruckus. 1st and 20, they ended up with a 4th and goal from the 40-yard line.
Yeah.
You got to know, it's 1st and 20, you got a kicker. You need 5 to 7 yards. Instead, the quarterback's holding on to the ball too long. They're trying to go to the end zone. Now he gets sacked. And it just kept going backwards. So my advice to the Spartans is learn down management. You got to keep it reasonable on 3rd downs. Because what's happening is I didn't know the history of Keenan, that he liked to go deep from back when y'all played. But now, if it's 3rd and 20, I know you're going deep, so I can play there. Defenses adjust to it. So now when you want to go deep, you can't because people are guarding it. But if you can keep yourself in 2nd and 5s, 3rd and 5, stuff like that, now you can go over the top because a lot of teams will play the sticks. They'll play the 1st down. So, but, offensively, those guys they all wanted to be the guy, and now they got their opportunity. But it's more than about playing. You actually got to think while you're out there. So, like I said, their O gets a D from me right now. Defensively gets a D also. They took a big step back last week. I mean, I know ADR's got some really good athletes. But so does the Spartans. The Spartans got a lot of talent on the defensive side. They got good corners, solid linebacker. Weezy's a good safety, but they didn't look good last week either. They didn't get no pass rush except for Darrell. Darrell got in there and broke free a couple times. But they need to get back to the same energy that they had weeks 1 and weeks 2 also.
And that's something that's hard to come back from when you consider the way everything has gone since that first week. You go back to the Broadax game where they came back almost from being down 18-0.
Yeah.
But like we said, They should have kicked it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that mistake reared its head. And then you go back to the way they lost their Ruckus game, where
Yeah.
Ruckus should not have won that game under any
No,
circumstance whatsoever.
you're correct. No, I mean, they had 5 quarterbacks playing that game, or 4, whatever it was.
And not most of them were none of them were actually quarterbacks. That was the irony.
Right. Yeah.
And they win because Edro throws a touchdown pass at the end,
Yeah. But that's
which made him
knowledge.
the sixth
Yeah.
quarterback, I think, in that game.
Right. But,
It was
again,
insane.
Spartans all want to be the guy, but they've never been the guy. So now you got to learn how to manage a game. I mean, the Spartans should have seen that Ruckus thing coming. I mean, Ruckus was their sideline was arguing with their offense about coming on third down. Like, everybody's seen it. It actually, I don't even know how it wasn't even a delay a game in between there unless they took a timeout, because the special teams came on the field, went off the field, and then while they was arguing, and then came back on the field. So when they came back on, you had to know something. If it's third down, because if they lean up right there and that pass is incomplete, they still get to kick on fourth down. So Spartans should have known something was going on, when all that hassle was going on. But, that's Don Brown too. So if you want to be the coach, you got to see some of that stuff. So he don't get no pass either. I know I talked about Keenan and Thad being the offense captain, and and Weezy and them being defense captains. But if you're gonna have a coach out there, I think he needs to step it up too.
No, I agree. I agree fully. And that's something I will see how they handle the pressure, because right now they're sitting at 1-3.
Mm-hmm.
They're on the verge of looking at the B bracket. This program game, if they lose this one, they're suddenly just above Railroaders and Red Knights and nobody else.
Right.
And that's territory that you don't want to be in right now.
Exactly. So I told you 3 weeks ago that the 3 biggest games of the year was Spartans program, Spartans Ruckus, and then program Ruckus, because that decides who's in B and who's in A.
Yeah. And so far, Ruckus has beaten Spartans, so we got that determined.
Yeah.
We're going to have part 2 of that puzzle figured out tomorrow when Spartans take on program. That's going to be an interesting game. We'll do some predictions later on, Chris. I want to see what you think of this week's games at the end of this segment.
Right. Well, number 6 is the program, is who I got at number 6.
So we had ours flip-flopped.
Yeah, yep. So, I just think the program, they play Broad Axe tough. It's short when they was shorthanded. Ricky got some first downs against ADR, kind of moved the ball a little bit. So right now their offense is I'm gonna give them a D+ right now. But it's really unfair to grade their offense because Ricky they ain't had no line there. Their receivers haven't been there. So I'd like to see them with an actual full unit so I can actually see what they're working with.
Mm-hmm.
But for right now, yeah, they get a D+. I mean, they have the players. I just need to see them all on the field together. I mean, they played good against Broad Axe, and they almost came back. So I'd like to see Ricky. Man, they need to play Cortez a little more on offense if they're going to get any better. He's got to be on the field every play.
Excellent weapon to have.
Yeah.
Something that no one talks about because we only see them on defense for the most part in county.
Yeah. But, I mean, so if they're shorthanded, he's got to play both ways. I mean, even if they're not shorthanded, he's their best athlete now that Mac's gone. So you have to play both ways. So, yeah, they get a D+ from me, and their defense gets a C+. They held Broad Axe to 14 points after Broad Axe went up 14-0, in the first quarter, right?
Yeah.
So that defense, once they adjusted, and because they got a lot of new guys back there, they had a lot of new guys there that I hadn't seen yet, and so for the next 3 quarters, Broad Axe didn't score. once program settled down. They didn't score the rest of the game. So I like where their defensive headed if they can get there. But, I mean, I hope they get numbers. If they don't get numbers, I don't know.
We will see, especially this weekend in that big momentum game against the Spartans.
Yes, that's huge. Huge. So, number 5, I got Ruckus. You know, they lost to the Warriors. Their offense gets a C. I mean, TJ moved the ball in the second half, moved the ball well. He ran good. Didn't really complete much downfield. Dehaney was tired. He went down and played. I didn't even know he played 2 games earlier. And so he was out there gassed. I mean, he was trying, but he should have been able to get open a little bit. But like I said, that was his 3rd game of the day, so that's always tough. So can't say much about that. But
where else did he play at? Just out of curiosity.
I guess he went down and played in Keystone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know he's with by chance?
I think he's with Regan and them. I think he's with the Misfits.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he's with them. You know, I thought the O-line would be able to block the Warriors a little bit, you know, considering the O-line is their strength of their team on Ruckus. Usually their run game and O-line is their strength, but they didn't the O-line didn't play very well at all. So they got to tighten up there. Playing with TJ is going to be a new system for them guys. I mean, he likes to run around a little bit before he throws the ball, so he don't really throw timing routes. So the quick slants and outs, receivers are going to have to get used to running secondary routes. But they'll get better. They'll play good. They'll get better, and you know, they'll get better throughout the season. So I'm looking forward to seeing them with TJ for the rest of the year and tomorrow. So ADR plays him tomorrow, so we'll actually see how he improved from last week.
I look forward to seeing that game. That's the game of the week tomorrow, ADR versus Ruckus on terms of ranking. A strong matchup between these two. Ruckus needs this game in the worst possible way.
Oh,
they
have
are sitting at 2-2 right now, and a loss here, they're sitting way below in the A bracket and possibly facing the B bracket.
Yeah, I mean, if they lose tomorrow, it comes down between their game with Ruckus and Program to see if they even make it into A. So, but defensively, I give Ruckus a C-. I mean, them guys, they stay in that damn cover 3 way too much. I mean, teams have adjusted. They've adjusted to it. I mean, they'll call some interceptions and stuff every once in a while, but for the most part, teams just go up and down the field on it. You know, their D-line, you know, sometimes they send 2, stuff like that. The biggest thing I seen from Ruckus is what they need. They need a damn coach. They need a coach because during that Warriors game, there were times, you know, me and Chili on the sideline, and I'm going, why'd they accept the penalty? Well, they should have declined it. Like, Warriors ran a reverse and lost 3 yards, and the Warriors had a legal formation. So instead of Ruckus declining the penalty and making it 3rd down, they accepted the 5-yard penalty and let Warriors replay 2nd down. Which makes no sense. I mean, one play lost 3 yards, the other play lost 5 yards. One play you get the down, and the other one you don't.
Ross is laughing right now about that. Let me add to that, though. But let me add to that, though. Can we talk about the play where they could have, you know, gone for 2 instead of the extra point attempt they did?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I was sitting on the sideline, and I'm just – yeah, exactly. They have no bot.
You all make fun of the Warriors counting, but yet Ruckus couldn't know how to do the count for conversions.
Well, they didn't even ask the score. They didn't ask what the score was to find out if they even needed to go for 2. I mean, like I said, so just awareness overall. I was sitting on the sideline, and there were times they would line up with 3D linemen. Only 2 would go, 1 would stand there. And me and Tilly are looking at each other, and I think me or Tilly, one of us, asked, who runs the defense? Who makes these calls? Because some of these guys ain't even rushing. They're just standing at the line. They need to come off the field. If a guy can't rush, he needs to come off the field. He's not helping you. So, from what I seen on the sideline between that Warriors and Rutgers game, Rutgers they have leaders and they have captains, but they have nobody to manage the game for them. So they need a coach. Or one of the players have to take it and not worry about friendship and let people know. Somebody's got to take control over on Rutgers, or they're always going to be, I know the one season they played ADR in the championship, but other than that, I mean, they're going to be middle of the road until they actually somebody takes control over there.
We shall see. Ruckus, big game review all this weekend. Who do you got at number 4, though, Chris?
Number 4 is ADR.
Hey, good transition.
Yeah, they've been there in my rankings anyway, since week 1. Right now their offense is a C+ and getting better. I mean, they would be in the B somewhere if they would have done anything week 1 against Warriors. But Jacob has stepped in, man. That dude's playing good football right now.
Mm-hmm. He's impressed since he's come back.
Yeah, so he's averaging 22 points a game now. The last 2 games for ADR since they've came back.
Very similar to the numbers he put up when he was TMT's quarterback in the spring of 2017. Before you came along, Boone,
right?
Jacob Mitchell, and there was a lot of hype around him too.
Yeah, I remember
that spring.
Yeah, I used to come down there and watch him play. So he's done real good. I mean, we got a lot of athletes. He's getting them the ball. O-line still needs some work for our team right now. We got, Dom's really good, and we got Juan, and, we got James snapping. Those guys just got to get better. I mean, that's who our offensive linemen are. They come to early every week before the games to practice, and stuff like that. So if the O-line can improve, ADR will be fine. Defensively, they get an A-. I mean, they haven't – right now their defense through 3 games is giving up 2 points a game.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, they gave up 6 week 1, and the last 2 games, donuts. I mean, they're giving up 2 points a game. So they're right there where they left off from last season, from the spring. Would they give up 3.3 or 4 points a game or 5, something like that last spring?
4, but you got to remember with scoring defense, Chris, that actually includes defensive scores from the other team.
Well, I get that, but technically,
if you were talking about what the defense has surrendered total,
right?
They have not surrendered anything so far. They put the donuts on both program and Spartans. And in that Warriors game, the Warriors' biggest play of the game was that pass from Snavely to Edwards.
Well, and that's because they got 1st and 5.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for the block punt, then a penalty, which gave them a first down at the 5-yard line, the Warriors might not. So technically, ADR's defense, they could have won 3 games without giving up any points.
They're very close to doing it.
Close to.
Yeah.
But you can't look at it like that. So they gave up 6. So technically, they gave up 6 points in 3 games. They're a strong unit. The only thing really with them is the DBs get caught looking in the backfield sometimes. So that's something I've been going over with them about. Usually that D-line gets there so fast that they're watching the quarterback instead of watching their man. I think right now that's what they need to work on. So, I'm sure we are working on it. So.
Yep. Who do you got at number 3?
Number 3 is Broadax. They're still at 3. I like They got a B minus on offense. I like what they're doing. Their O line's good. Their running back's good. Tight end's good. Quarterback's young and green, but Tom and those guys, they're champions over there. They're building him and grooming him, so he's going to be strong for the next couple of years. They got a little white kid outside playing receiver who has real good chemistry with the quarterback. They seem to be able to just throw up a bunch of fades and come down with it. The key for them is Zeke coming back, or is he staying with Warriors? So that's what.
He's stuck with Warriors according to Ross.
All right, well, there you go. So, right now.
That's trying to be correct. The ruling was earlier in the year that you can't change teams during the season and go back to your original team.
Even when he showed up and played with us at the first day he did, I said, if you play today, you're stuck here.
Yeah.
Where he was even technically.
Yeah. Well, from my understanding of that rule, because I was checking on it, it's after week 3. So he technically could have played with the Warriors week 3, and then week 4 went to another team. So that was the confirmation that I had got. But I didn't ask about Zeke. Yeah, I didn't ask about Zeke. I just asked, about any player. So right now, Broadax, I got them a B minus on offense. On defense, they get a C minus on defense. I mean,
that secondary's been rough.
Rittenhour is the only thing keeping them from not being a D. I mean, they're just. I mean, it's a one-man show over there, and that's unbelievable that he's doing what he's doing, full strength, every play on defense, every game. I even told him, I said, man, I don't know if you're going to last by playoffs. I mean, that's a lot of wear and tear on your body, just doing everything by yourself. I mean, he's taking on – I mean, there was one play, he rushed by himself. I seen him go through 3 blockers. 3. Yeah.
He's a beast.
Oh, he's a beast. But they're not going to last doing that. So eventually they got to change their defensive style too. I know they're scared of that secondary getting burnt, but you're going to get burnt anyways if a quarterback's got 12 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to see Broadax step up some pass rush and get after it a little bit more. Let them, if the DBs get burnt, they get burnt. Right now, it's it's not November yet, so or October, whenever the hell the playoffs is. When is it? November? Beginning in November?
November 9th and the 16th. November, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not November yet. I mean, if they get burnt right now, it's no big deal. But you got to teach them and groom them the same way you're doing your quarterback. So they can't protect that secondary all season because it's not going to work out good for them.
I agree. And that's going to be something that we're going to revisit once they start playing offenses such as 80 yards.
Right. Yeah.
Remember, Jacob Mitchell was the one who snapped Broadax's 40-game win streak back in the day. That's going to be a tough matchup for them down the road.
Yeah, I mean that's. I mean, you see, the lowest score the lowest amount of touchdowns we've ever put up on Broadax is 4. I think I've scored 26 or more every time I played them. So that's 4 touchdowns a game against their defense. I mean, it ain't – they got to tighten up somewhere. And so hopefully they can. I mean, they're a top 4 team regardless. They're going to be there at the end. They should get better. Broadax will be all right, man. They're grooming that young kid. I just hope they don't get in a shootout because that defense can't hold up. So
we'll see how they hold up as the season goes on. Number 2
is the Warriors.
All right. Yep. Ross, look happy over there.
Yeah, I've had the Warriors at 2 ever since they beat ADR week 1. I mean, I didn't think they'd beat X-Dogs. They didn't, but both teams will be different next time you see them. So that game counts for something, but technically it don't count for much because both teams are totally different. As you can see, the Warriors, so their offense for me gets a Man, it's a C plus, B minus, right in there. They're right in the middle of that. They,
Quite a jump though from where we already were last time.
yeah, oh, definitely, definitely. I mean, Foster did good, man. Foster did good. I mean, I'll say this. I even talked to Foster during the games. He played the best two teams he could to get back into it. I mean, you got to think he ain't played quarterback in a while. He needed those easy games. He needed that to get some chemistry with his guys. Um, you know, and just being behind that O line, being comfortable. I mean, I know I ain't played in a while, and as soon as I get back out there, I'm gonna be. It'll be different for me too. So if you ain't played quarterback in a while, it's tough just to step in and be at your full potential. So I like what Foster did. Mac adds a lot for him. He adds a lot. He adds the speed. Polo's always solid. I mean, that dude's a hell of a possession guy. You could pretty much throw him any route. Max got some limitations on what routes he can run just because of his size. You can't really throw him certain routes, but Polo can run any route you put out there. He can run the digs, the posts, the comebacks, the slants, the flies. I mean, Polo's good, man, and they showcased him finally. They finally showcased him.
That offense really shined last Saturday.
Yeah. Yep.
Four touchdowns, yeah. Something like that, you said?
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't really count all of that because some of that was against Railroaders defense. So, but like I said, I'm just glad they showcased him finally and went to him. That's been the issue with them guys. They really haven't gave Polo 50-50 balls. And that's what you need to do. So, and their defense, I give them a B plus. That unit is, I mean, it's strong as hell. It's strong as hell, but their D line's good, their secondary's good. But for some reason, they get a little lazy and give up something each game for some reason. Ross is there. I don't know. Ask him if guys, after they get up a score or two, if they fall asleep back there because Railroaders shouldn't have moved the ball down the field on them. And they got caught sleeping a couple plays, so that's the only thing they got to shore up. They just got to want to be dominant the whole game. I mean, they are really good. They're talented. They played their ass off this season, but you're giving up points to teams that you shouldn't give up points against if you want to be the best defense in the league.
We'll take one of that. We good?
Ross says he's good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, they are good. That's why I was just asking Ross. I mean,
That's what you get here once in a while. I have to argue for that.
Like I said, I know those guys want to be great over there, but to be great, you got to play the full 60 minutes of the game. So some of them teams that scored on them, they shouldn't have scored on them. If they play the way they did against ADR, they would have had shutouts.
Sometimes it's hard to keep that same energy, though.
It is.
That could be the one thing that is a weakness, however. You are correct.
Right. That's what I said. So, so what happens when they do give up some plays and now their defense is kind of going back and forth with each other. So, I mean, we got a lot to see about them, but I mean, they're obviously one of the best units in the league. I mean, easily one of the best units in the league. Front four, back five, they have everything. So, I mean, you really can't say nothing bad about them other than I'd like to see them put some shutouts up there.
I think they have a few games left in the season. I don't think they're going to be able to post any shutouts for the looks of it. I feel like the only team that could possibly shut out is the Spartans, give or take. I'd be getting to look forward to later in the season.
Who do they have left?
Program and Broad Axe, and I feel like Program Ricky Miller is going to come out balling against them. You
He
know he's
he
going to be
he
ready.
does good against them.
Yeah.
He does good against them, but he's always had a half decent O line. So we'll have to see if the program bring him any bodies to block for him, because it could be a different game if they don't have the bodies. But you know. So number one is X Dogs. Of course, we all know it's X Dogs. They're undefeated. They beat the Warriors. Their offense right now is a B minus. Matt played horrible in that Warriors game. I mean, not that he played bad. His actually brain left him and threw that interception. I just can't get over that. Still, And then last week he played good. He played good last week, but them receivers need to catch the ball. I mean, their receivers could keep them from either being in the championship or winning the championship in the fall. Because no matter how good Kinsler, Brady, and Chili are, if their receivers can't catch a damn pass, they're not going to beat ADR in the playoffs. They're not going to beat Broadax in the playoffs. And they're not going to beat the Warriors in the playoffs if they continually, every game, drop touchdowns.
That is going to be something that really hurts them. And I feel like if they don't get that together soon, it's going to bite them in November in the worst possible way.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. So, I mean, you get out there, like you said, in November, they get out there, and let's just say, dude, there's a possibility there could only be 4 teams in the A playoffs.
Very strong possibility. We don't know. Rutgers is facing 2 and 3 this weekend.
Right. Yeah. So what happens if, let's just say, they play any one of the 3, Warriors, Broadax, or ADR, they come out and they drop a couple touchdowns and they don't get no points on the board. Their defense ain't going to post shutouts the whole game either, because their secondary ain't that good. So to me, their defense is a B+. The only thing keeping them from an A is their secondary, because their secondary, they can't cover. I mean, I hate to say it that badly, but, they play a zone 2. If Kinsler, Chili, and Brady don't get home, as you can see, that what we did for Team Blunt Talk. I mean, you throw a slant, Sean takes it to the house. You throw a drag to Zeke when he was with the Warriors. He does a 5-yard drag, runs down the sideline. Secondary couldn't pull flag, so they give up big touchdowns if the front 3 don't get home. So that secondary has some work to do too. So
I agree, but so far though, 4-0, they're one of the few teams that clinched that A spot. So far, they only been the Warriors. Impressive start to the season. I said it all season. I feel like this is one of the best X-Dogs teams Matt's had in the last couple of years. But we haven't seen it quite yet.
Right. Because he's been playing shorthanded some weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, no doubt about it. X-Dogs are the best team right now. They're the best team. So
the final product in November is what we're going to really get. And that's going to be when Matt and company shine the most.
Yeah. But Matt can only be so great if all his receivers' nickname is Stonehands. He can't catch it for him. And we've seen where Matt has had to get frustrated and go to receiver because his receivers are dropping his passes. So he even takes himself out of quarterback to go to receiver just so they can try to move the ball. So I'll say this. The top 4 teams are the top 4 teams, but they all have flaws right now. And, and it could go either way in November.
Nothing is certain. But what is certain, however, is that tomorrow we got a nice slate of games. Let's see the predictions, Chris. Everybody knows what I got for this weekend. I want to know, who do you got starting out with a 10:30 a.m. kickoff?
10:30.
Broadax Red Knights, the Hoffman Bowl. Who you got in this one?
Broadax kills them.
Yeah?
Yeah, they kill them. I mean, and Andy will score just because he knows all those guys on that defense. He'll score, but I see the young kid just being able to run around all day. Um, he can run around all day. They're going to be able to just run the middle, up the middle. Their O line versus Andy's D line is just a complete mismatch. I mean, it all depends on if Tom wants to run it up or not. But it's going to be 30-something to 6.
Second game of the day, Chris. Well, I'm not going to ask you to pick this one. Actually, we're going to skip Ruckus ADR.
We'll talk. We could talk about it. We could talk about it. We'll do a brief segment on it. We'll talk about it.
Okay. So, what do you think about this matchup?
I love this matchup. This is hometown for us right here. Anytime you get to go against TJ, I mean that's our guy from backyard, right? So, everybody on our team's coming ready to play for TJ, and I know TJ wants to score so bad, and so he can post a highlight on one of our players. It's going to be very interesting because if TJ scores, it's going to be a long week on the page. Long week.
I mean, TJ did put up 19. TJ had Broadax in the game with you all last fall. It was 21-19 at halftime between Broadax and ADR last fall.
Yeah.
Gave you all a push, but in the second half, you all adjusted, shut him out completely.
Yep.
And in the end, won that game. What do you think is the key for TJ to go against that defense of yours tomorrow? What does he need to do from his end to succeed?
Keep his head.
You've known him for a long time. You two have history. You guys go way back from what I've been told.
I consider TJ my little brother, man. I mean, he's family to me. You know, me and him. I've been picking him up since he's been 12 years old. Taking him wherever I went. Me and Mouse also. I mean, so he's like our little brother. I mean, we had this kid traveling with us when he was 16, 17 years old in high school playing in flag tournaments with us. So, he's family to us. So we're excited to play him. He's got to keep his head because if TJ would just play football, he's a top 10 player in the league. I mean, he is. He's that talented. He can play receiver, he can play DB, and he can play quarterback for you.
He made the Survivors a contending team at one point. They were really good when he was the quarterback.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So
they just couldn't finish games. That was the only problem. But that made that franchise competitive.
Yeah, exactly. So he is talented. I'm hoping he can help Ruckus out. But I'm telling you what, I know my team's ready to play him. I mean, I just know they can't wait. So, so if one of our guys get an interception or sack TJ a bunch of times, I mean, y'all gonna hear about it all week. And if TJ scores on us, he's gonna let us hear about it all week. So, it's an interesting game, especially for our hometown.
Oh yeah, I imagine it's a lot of hype down in Winchester right now.
Yeah, guys are ready.
Final game of the day, Spartans program. Who you got?
Shit,
man.
That's
really the most competitive game, in my opinion.
It is. It's going to be. Damn, man. All right, so let's see. Wheezy's out, right? I mean, he hurt his hamstring. So you're missing.
Yeah.
So you're missing your captain and who calls all your defensive formations and sets. Spartans, they don't get no pass rush, so the program's shaky O-line will give Ricky time. Man, I say 19-12. I'm going to go program.
19-12 program? Okay.
Yep. I think, I don't know, for whatever reason, that energy from the Spartan sidelines, even before the games, they don't even have the energy before the games. So, like they did. So if they don't come out with energy, I think program beats them. And then that sets up the program ruckus matchup to see which one goes in the A bracket. Because the winner of that would be over 500 and be eligible for the A bracket.
If things were to fall in line the way we think.
Right.
Anything can happen. Railroaders could upset Ruckus out of left field. They almost did it last year.
Yeah, you're right. They did. But TJ back there at Ruckus now, he'll be able to run around and beat the Railroaders. it won't be like last year. He'll be able to run around and he'll be able to beat them. So, so this is a big game for program tomorrow. If they want any chance in the A bracket, they got to win, and I think they will. I think Ricky, he'll find his ace. Old Gary Little, he'll find his ace in the hole. He'll connect with him for a score or two. So, or at least a bunch of key first downs to keep the drive alive. So, that's what I got. Oh, you're good, buddy. So I'm ready for tomorrow, man. I'm excited.
Tomorrow too.
So what time you gonna be out there?
I'm gonna be out there after I get some breakfast.
All right, buddy. Well, sounds good. Good doing this. Can't wait to see y'all tomorrow. Everybody have a good night, man. Peace out, fellas.